We're on. All right. So happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It's our Thanksgiving episode.
Yay!
I'm here with Thaddeus and Walter, and you're in the garage. Thanksgiving
What's up?
2008. Yeah. So I had to get into this. Wanted to get into this recently, anyway, because there was those random Facebook things that go around. But Stan Lee just died.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Stan Lee, 95 though, had a good run. The dude had a good run, man.
Sure.
If at this point in my life, if I could pick anybody's life, I mean, I would say Walt Disney but he died at 66 or something like that. He didn't go to 95. 66 is,
And he tried to freeze himself.
Right.
You can be Walt Disney's head. Supposedly that's still alive somewhere.
Right.
Do they still have it frozen? What if they do?
Probably. I don't know, but probably.
But I mean, I would definitely Stan Lee, somebody I would definitely go with. I mean, I would love to, like create your own universe, like your entire universe, to the point where it's like so huge that my 2.5-year-old knows all the characters and knows them like my sight,
And so do you. And so do people older than you. I mean, like, this is something that spans generations.
Like fucking. I mean, although I was thinking about this the other day, this is a weird thing. We were okay. So Marvel Comics, Spider-Man was 15 years old when we were born.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So Spider-Man was, so that's not that far. That is like Image would have been that. Image Comics would have been that in like 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's not that far, but yeah, I mean, at this point now, they've been around a long time.
Sure.
And it's a huge thing. And fucking to the point where it spread, where when I was a kid, it was only for nerds and you basically had to sneak the stuff. And now it's so mainstream that it's everywhere, to the point where my 2-year-old can recite every single guy. Like, where the hell was that coming from back then?
Right.
Yeah.
And thing I was wanting to get in with this is that is an influence. That guy didn't just influence you. He influenced all the people that influenced you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, because I was thinking about it, because we had started talking about this topic, right? This influences and people that have shaped our creative lives and stuff like that. And obviously one of the people that I connect with or strive to be like or whatever, but influenced by, one of my biggest is Kevin Smith. And Kevin Smith, thinks that this guy is a god.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, it's this trickle down theory, like guys of like the Kevin Smith level and like other contemporaries, like maybe some guys on like Saturday Night Live that we really liked or whatever, or a couple of movie stars that we really dug, and like Indiana Jones, like Harrison Ford for us, growing up, but between the Han Solo character and Indiana Jones, like that was a big deal back then for us,
Right.
All right. You know how I told you that I come up with scenes by listening to songs, and I think about the movie and what would be happening in the movie if this song was playing on the thing, and I come up with scenes like that, right?
Yeah.
I also come up with fucking characters based on who would play them in the movie.
Okay.
So yeah, if I wanted a Sam Jackson character, I would have a character that get that Sam Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, most of those guys at a certain point, when they're Sam Jackson, when they're Al Pacino, they're just acting. They're just being themselves. They're not even acting anymore. They're just doing what their shtick.
Right.
Or they've become what they're most iconically known as.
Right.
Like Sam Jackson's the guy with Tourette's in every movie.
But he's great at what he does.
Got to say motherfucker in a movie.
Right. Bad motherfucker or whatever.
Right though. Come on. It's like, what is it? I mean, like, you're a real life character. For like, you have such a calling card that every movie that you're in that have
Yeah.
nothing to do with each other at all, everyone in the audience is waiting for you to say motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's your thing. That's not
or I'll be back.
but it's transcendent. Like Sam Jackson's motherfucker transcendent. It fucking it's in everything. I mean, he pops it out. I can't remember watching a movie that he didn't say it.
Right. Yeah. Well, maybe the Marvel ones, because he can't, right? Does he say it in the Marvel movies? I don't remember.
There's I don't want to give away any spoilers for anybody that hasn't seen Infinity War yet, but there's a point where he's about to, but he gets cut off from saying it. So it's
it's implied
of it. So
right. So say even then, okay. So if that is not counting as every movie, you could still say it's every character he's ever played.
Right.
Pretty much.
Right.
Almost every character that Sam Jackson is in, it's a like either a badass or a loud dude. Like it's always like 100% and go with him.
Yeah.
Kind of like Terry Crews. Like you know what you're gonna get from that dude. High intensity and all that kind of stuff. Same thing like Arnold. Like the Terminator is not that much more or less articulate than Conan the Barbarian. Right.
I should know what this is psychologically. I should know what they call this, but I don't know what it is. Why? I guess everybody likes familiarity. They like to know their heroes,
Oh, yeah.
But there is something about that just sucks you in. That fucking Norm on the fucking and Cheers.
Yeah. No.
You know what I mean?
And also too, I don't think this is even like this isn't an exercise in even saying that they're not good actors. Because I think some of them that we've mentioned are actually decent actors or good actors,
Well, like Al Bundy. Right?
Yeah.
Fat woman walked into the store today.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the same joke. How many times does Married with Children start with Al walk through his front door?
Right.
How many times?
All the time.
I mean, shit. Are you guys having a lag on your end?
You glitched out for me a little bit just then.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Yeah, all right, cool.
But most of it's been smooth.
Yeah, so fucking Married Children is a big one for me. Al Bundy's great. I love Al Bundy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, same here. I grew up just watching that every single day when it was in syndication.
Sure.
And like on WOR, I don't know what it is. It's Channel 9 for us, but I don't know what it is for, for the rest of the nation.
Channels changed call signs like 50 times in our lifetime.
Yeah. It's like it went to UPN and then who the hell knows what else, but like
it's on every day.
Yeah.
It's on every day here. I don't know what. Yeah, it's Married Children probably is on somewhere every day.
TBS was running it for a while.
Yeah. That's right.
I kind of feel like I don't remember if it was actually Comedy Central, but one of those like Comedy Central type channels had it for a little while.
Right. And also not only that, but I don't know if you guys know this, but it's on in different countries, and there's different versions of Married with Children in different countries.
Oh, really?
So they actually sold the rights to other countries to do their own versions of it, and they have to approve of those different versions. Okay. So they have a list of things that that must be approved in order for them to do their version of Married with Children.
Yeah.
So there's an episode where he's killed in Lower Hunkton.
knife right in the back. But yeah, I mean, there's a while back, maybe about 15 years ago, there was an Argentinian Married with Children, and it did very well. It did very, very well. It was a hit.
You know what I'm very serious about? I've been considering this. And I'm not joking. I've been considering this. I've been considering opening the South Florida chapter of No Ma'am. I mean, now in a time more than ever where No Ma'am is needed.
And you got to tie up Jerry Springer too while you're at it. At the same time,
I think it has to happen.
It's got to happen.
So
Let me
Walt,
tie him up. Yeah, go ahead.
I was wanting to ask this for the show. What was it? What song was it? What band was it? Band I already know, but what song was it specifically? What moment was it where you playing the guitar? You said, hearing the guitar, you said, "This is what I want to do. This is it."
Oh man, yeah, that's a good question because there's different moments in my life where music played a huge role, and it wasn't one specific thing. It was like a culmination of different moments, and it ended up swinging my direction towards music. As you guys know, because we were on the same baseball team in high school. I was all about being an athlete, you know, in high school. That was my life, you know, like that's what I wanted to do. That's, you know, how that's how I viewed myself. Then one day, pitching stickball, I got hurt, the back of my shoulder, and I didn't think anything of it. It just got worse and worse after a while, and I ended up seeing a chiropractor, and I had a really bad summer. The summer after our it would have been my sophomore year. That summer I had a really bad summer where I was supposed to be in tournaments, and I missed a few games.
That was right after
with a traveling team. That was right after our season, and if you remember, like this is like a conversation that I have with John all the time about the last game that I pitched was a no hitter for a few innings, and I had no stuff. I had nothing. I had absolutely nothing, and it's because I
caught you.
It was because like just a little while before that, I hurt myself, and so anyway, long story short, that summer, about 6 months before that, I had started playing guitar, and there was a moment where I was just so like down on myself because I couldn't go out and pitch, and I wasn't doing very well. I ended up doing pitching mop up, in a couple games in a tournament, in a summer tournament. And it just there's a moment where everything just switched, where baseball stopped, was basically became a hobby. And then the thing that was a hobby, which was music, which I had just started doing, just became the passion. And it just did this complete switch. And so much so that the next year, in my junior year, if you remember Coach James, he came looking for me because he wanted me to pitch it in varsity. I told him, like, I haven't been working out, I haven't been doing anything, and I don't know if I'm any good, but I know that I'm into music. And I just I just got swept up by that. And as far as like the music that I was listening to at the time, it was a lot of hard rock. It was a lot of classic rock. I was listening to a lot of Zeppelin. I was listening to Ozzy. I was listening to Rush. I was listening to Iron Maiden big time. And it was just like, that was the stuff that was around back then. It was all heavy guitar driven kind of stuff. And I was just obsessed, absolutely obsessed. And I was playing guitar like all day long, all day and all night long at times. So
it's weird. It's weird because, like I've known you a long time now. To me, in my mind, and this is where memory is not fucking reliable. And so anybody that remembers, they remembered it. It's a memory from 30 fucking years ago. Memory is not reliable because to me, I remember you being the guitar guy at the same time that you were the pitcher.
Right.
There's no, to me, it was all the same time.
Right.
So you know what I mean? So it's a little bit it's a little bit weird hearing that there was a progression. It was the first Walt and then the second Walt.
Yeah.
When I always thought it was just Walt.
Yeah, there was a crescendo and the other one was decrescendoing. There was one trending up and the other one was trending down. So
like,
there was an overlap. Yeah.
There's like two people on the escalators and they high-fived each other as they passed.
Yeah, basically. That's basically how it went down. Yeah. With some depression in there, that kind of gave me the jolt.
What's fucking childhood without depression? Jesus.
Yeah.
There's always depression in there. There's always depression in there. If there's not, then there's diarrhea.
Or entitlement is what you fucking get today.
Thaddeus, what is it like? And I was telling Walt and Scotty about this. I'm really curious about your answers to some of these things.
Okay.
Because like I don't even know. Like Walt wants to, be a musician. I'm more like an entertainer, but I like to, the writing is one way that I do it, but I like to tell stories, but it doesn't just have to be in writing, but I like to entertain.
Right.
What is it that your goal is through all this?
So when I first started podcasting, right, it was that sort of opportunity to be, right, Stern, right, especially in our wheelhouse, right, Stern growing up. Later, like Opie and Anthony, or even from the sports end of it, like Mike and the Mad Dog, or Mike and Mike in the Morning, shit like that. As the progression goes along as you grow older, right?
So it is radio shows specifically that you're into, though.
Excuse me.
At least to start.
To when the at the podcasting time coming around, yeah, absolutely. I remember like similar to Wall, like as a kid, like I was going to be a fucking, I don't know, whatever, shortstop for fucking some team. Right. But, as you grow older and you do whatever, and I was a good fielder, right. I had an all right arm. But I couldn't hit. I really struggled with hitting, which is weird. Cause like fucking wiffle ball and that shit's moving and whatever. And, I don't know. I guess it's a slower pace, right? Everything.
It's velocity. Yeah, it's velocity.
Yeah, everything speeds up, and just eventually, I guess eventually, it got to the point where I didn't care enough to put in the effort to get to that next spot.
Yeah, that's one of those things.
I'm like, all right, whatever. And at the time, actually, I actually started. I was watching football, right, more and more. And started kind of getting into basketball and stuff, and it was goofy and it was early, but like back in the day, like I started watching football because of fucking Lawrence Taylor, right? Lawrence Taylor, Giants, he's wrecking house, he's breaking Theismann's leg, and they're making it to the playoffs against
that just happened again.
Yeah, to fucking Alex Smith, right?
To another Redskin quarterback. I think it was the same day too.
Do you want to know the crazy thing? Supposedly, fucking, it was the anniversary to the day. Theismann was there, and like it was the same score of the game as like like it was like
that
some
wild
serendipitous weird shit that was
in my experience, there's no such thing as luck.
Yeah, like at one point in time, do you roll up like how many like circumstantial and coincidence can you line up in a row before it starts to become a fucking pattern?
Right. Exactly. There's a sequence. We just don't know what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Maybe we can't understand it.
Right.
Fucking
exactly.
Damn. Right. But yeah. So so my sporting kind of changed or whatever, and then also too at that point in time, like we were all in high school together, and right, you're kind of starting to develop who you are at that point in time. Like you're taking chances. You got these new friends that you're kind of thrust in the world with, and it's like fucking sink or swim, and there's sharks and whatever. And I was always this fucking weird kind of go between. Like I hung out with you guys. I hung out with like the weird table at lunch because I remember I had a fucked up lunch period. Not a fucking soul that I knew or had a class with did I have lunch in my freshman year. So I sat with the weird kids. I just sat down at the table because the fucking whatever. The place was empty. It was like, I don't know, third period or fourth period or whatever fucking lunch, and nobody fucking had that, but somehow I got it. So,
Right.
but then I also hung out with the hood kids that, at any point in time they could fucking start a fight. Like, so it was like this weird dynamic of me in high school, and like, you don't know who you kind of really are at that point. So I was just kind of swaying around with everybody and whatever. And like I said, the sports and whatever. And at that point in time, my passion for sports was there, but I knew I was never going to be good enough to, even make it to serious high school ball, let alone fucking majors and bullshit. Right. And I was probably never going to be good at a sport that I just fucking picked up when in a fucking my teens. Right. But my passion for sports was there. I remember, dude, getting like cereal and sitting there on the fucking floor with the Daily News, looking at all the box scores and the West Coast and things, and reading all the articles about the local teams and all that kind of stuff. And I loved that kind of stuff. Right. So then at some point, I think I kind of wanted to be, I don't know, like a broadcaster. Right. Blah, 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 2-2 to McReynolds, whose number is 22, and like all the corny shit that they would do. Like I would do that while I was watching TV, like by myself and fucking nobody around, right? Fucking you make sure nobody's looking. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Home run. You look around, you get more, and then you start fucking saying shit, and your parents are like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
We should do a World Series special or something though, where we're watching the game, where we're doing the show, but we're watching the game, and we just talk to each other while we're watching the game, and fucking hear our commentary watching the game.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then also too, like now granted, now I got along with you guys well, and we never argued over the shit, but like always growing up a Mets fan, I always felt like I needed to defend myself.
Well, you should have in that era.
Exactly. Well, when you make fucking retarded decisions, you need to,
Well, what the problem is?
Like Bobby Bonilla.
Oh God! Yeah.
You know what the problem is? Is that you suffered from a certain thing. Okay, look, New Yorkers are obnoxious.
Sure.
Yeah.
The difference,
especially from Queens.
Yes. Well, the difference though is that when you are rooting for the team that has the most championships in the history of professional sports, right?
Right.
Being obnoxious doesn't mean that you're wrong, right?
No, no, absolutely not.
You kind of have a right to be obnoxious. It's especially when everybody hates you because of that fact, because you win all the time. You kind of take that obnoxiousness to the next level, and as a call of arms, it's like a pride to you because everyone's attacking you. So fuck you.
It's bravado.
I'm gonna be obnoxious, right? But because they win, you're backed up by your nonsense is backed up by the team. Right. With the Mets, it's the same obnoxious New Yorkers, right?
Oh yes,
it's the same. It's the same exact obnoxious New Yorkers, right? And they're running their mouths the same way, except that the team loses. They always find some crazy way to fuck shit up
that not even Bernie Madoff could have fucking paid for in the height of his Ponzi scheme.
And it's always nutty what happens to them to fuck a season, right?
Oh yeah.
So but then when the Met fans yell at Yankee fans, this stupid kind of obnoxious shit that fucking people yell at each other, only their team sucks. Historically. Right. You look ridiculous. You look like a fucking jackass. But because they're obnoxious New Yorkers, they can't stop, and they keep doing it. They keep doing it. They keep doing it. Right. So it's just over and over again. So Yankee fans are like I would actually not mind rooting for the Mets to win if it wasn't for their fans being fucking obnoxious.
Right.
But it's like, come on, like Alec Baldwin says, does grass have a rivalry with a lawnmower?
Yeah, anybody that calls it a rivalry is I mean, at best it's like redheaded stepchild territory.
Right. Just stop.
You know what got me and what got me down on Yankee fans, like just in general, was and I know it's more like kid shit also, but I'd even get it from fucking like older kids and like even fucking like adults and shit as a kid. So right, I'm riding high as a fucking Met fan, right, in the late 80s. Right? And it's like I'm just trying to go about my own business and actually enjoy, like, and at the time I don't even know the misery of the misery because I'm young, right? And the future misery that's about to fucking rape me hasn't come yet, right? And I'm just sitting in this nice little window of like 85 to 88 where we're arguably one of, if not the best team in baseball, right?
Right, where anything's possible, absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm not running my mouth. I'm just happy, right? And fucking Yankee fans go, well, how many championships have you won? I don't know. One. How many have you won? None, because you weren't alive the last time they won. You know? Now, obviously, that all goes away, you know, in a few years, because then you guys rip off like 20 in a row or whatever the fuck it was. You know? But like at that time, it's like Yankee fans, and it was always that they were better. And I get it. It's a better franchise. And honestly,
yeah,
this is one of the, like, no other franchise in history, especially in North American sports. Maybe there's a soccer dynasty that I'm not aware of from the fucking 40s or some shit, you know, like, but like there is no dominance like the Yankees.
Well, they've won. They've had a winning record for 25 straight seasons.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. Like, you look at, like, I don't know, like the NHL, right? Montreal, Edmonton had some really good runs and stuff. You know, the core six, you know, the Rangers in Chicago and all. Nothing compares to them, right? Basketball, right? Lakers, Celtics, yeah, they fought each other a lot, whatever, split some shit, but not one of those teams dominated for as much and for as long as the Yankees did. No one, you know, like, I mean, that's probably the closest you can get is arguing whether the Celtics or the Lakers kind of come close to having a discussion.
You know, Brian Cashman, shit, is probably gonna be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
He should be.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
He's been the GM for 20 years and has never had a losing season.
Yep.
And I'm mesmerized by Thaddeus's Amish beard.
But yeah, absolutely right.
So I don't know that Thaddeus even finished the story. I think we went on a tangent about
So it started with the broadcaster and then all that kind of shit, right? And then right, I don't know. Again, what it's not like especially in a market like New York, and this is like before like Connecticut School of Broadcasting and shit like that's around. You had to go to like a legit college with, you know, spend a lot of money and do a whole thing. It just wasn't in the cards for me to go to some kind of like broadcasting school or communications degree from good college, whatever kind of thing. And it's not like you can just fucking walk up to a radio station and be like, hey, here's my resume. Can I talk on the mic? You know, not in New York, at least, you know? Fast forward now all these years, podcasting kind of starts becoming a thing. And it's a relatively inexpensive, relatively easy, you know, kind of like the anybody can do it kind of thing. Like, not everybody can be entertaining and provide quality content, but anybody can fucking get in front of a mic and talk into it, upload it into the internet and available for everybody to watch or see or read or whatever the fuck it is, you know? So it was this beautiful fucking medium that kind of allowed me to vicariously like try and live out one of my dreams, you know, like the broadcaster turned. And then also too, like I said, like as my world is shaped, right? It's a little bit less about sports. It's more about girls. It's more about music. It's more about, you know, the fucking Stern is, you know, much more prevalent in your life. You know, you're able to listen to, you're not under your parents' thumbs anymore, you know, like, and you branch out and you whatever. So, you know, yeah. Opie and Anthony, you know, shows like that.
Right.
Yeah, kind of shaped what I thought about radio and the broadcasting medium, you know, as a whole, right? So, and then podcasting kind of gave me an avenue to venture into that.
I'm thinking. Oh, that's weird. I'm not going.
I am the greatest man on the face of the earth.
I do happen to think I'm the greatest man on the face of the earth. Thanks. Thanks for that. I like that. No, it's like I was a pretty damn good athlete, but I was 4 feet tall. And then by the time I hit that mark where you realize that you're 4 feet tall and you're not going to be a ball player, then I wasn't 4 feet tall anymore. But by then it was already too late. You know, you miss those years of training. And it does. Remember, we've talked about that with mastery. With something like athletics, it's a young man's game. So you need to get all that 10,000 hours of training in early. And once, if you don't get it in, you're done. That's one of the hard things about living in the city, too. That's why you don't get a lot of athletes that come out of the cities, because there's just other things to do. It's like living down here in Miami. People don't go to ball games because you could always go to the beach, you know. So there's when there's other things to do, it's a lot harder to focus on any given one, unless something fucked up, like, you know, you break your back one summer and you're laid up and you can only sit there all day. And that's actually kind of how I know about movies so well, and like storylines and stuff like that, is because I slit my wrist. Not like trying to kill myself or anything like that. It was just an accident. But I couldn't, when I was a kid, it's like 12 or 13, something like that. So whereas I played ball every summer, I couldn't. I had to sit home and be in the house. So I would just watch movies all day. I would tape movies. This is back with VHS tapes. So I would tape movies all day, HBO and shit. So like I spent an entire summer watching movies all day because I couldn't do anything else. So you learn a lot about all that kinds of shit.
And also too, it's not like today where you could fucking throw on Netflix and have a choice of fucking thousands of things.
Yeah, no, you really didn't. I mean, it was like if you had all the cable stations, I mean, you had 50 of them, you know, and you had 3 movie channels. You know, but I was a little nuts about it though. So I would go into the paper in the morning. Again, it wasn't the guide. The guide would only show you like what was on right now. You know, but the paper
scrolling thing, and if you ever just missed the channel you were fucking looking for,
you gotta wait. You're like, fuck, yeah, right. You got to wait for the whole thing to come up again.
Oh god, that was the worst.
Right. But back then they still had the schedule in the paper, so you knew in the paper exactly what was on all day long, right? So I would plan out whatever the schedule was. Oh, I haven't seen that movie. I would look through the whole day's worth of fucking TV and pick out what I was going to watch all day long, because I couldn't fucking do anything else. So yeah, so all day long I had it all, watching all that shit. Anyway, but when we were in school though, like I was kind of just an asshole. Everything I did was to try to get a laugh out of everybody around.
Oh yeah, but I was gonna say funny asshole.
I mean, I tried, but
you were an asshole, like going around trying to be a dick to everybody. Like you were an asshole and fucking you just make fucking jokes, you know.
Like
and right. And the thing about John was it didn't fucking like nothing. I'm sure something mattered, but like nothing mattered. Like it didn't matter. Like if it was in the middle of a sentence. Didn't matter if it was like in the middle of a test. Didn't matter if you fucking like, talking to a girl. Like if something popped up and he was like, "Oh shit, this is gonna be funny."
Yeah, man.
Fucking everybody's gotta hear it.
Very true.
I got this thing in my head coming out now.
I'm sure something must have mattered.
I'm sure there was some line he probably wouldn't cross, but.
Oh god!
Nah.
I never found the line, but
yeah, exactly.
Well,
he found a line and deliberately crossed it.
I probably did. I probably did.
Your line in the sand, and I piss on it.
I wonder what happened to that guy when I was in college. Right, my first year in college in CUNY. You're going to CUNY. I was like 17 and there was people that were like 35 years old in my classes. So, it's a weird thing. But yeah, man, they swore that I was going places because of that kind of shit, because I would do the fucking crazy shit in the world. What are you going to do? I don't know what happened to that guy. And I was like that at my first job too. My first job, man, because I worked for the PBA for the NYPD, right? So the union for the cops,
Right.
and there's you work at a union. There's certain things they make very clear, the things you can do and things you can't do. And man, I would toe that fucking line, man. And it was the same fucking thing. Fucking crazy. I wish I could still be like that. Talk about influences.
I don't know where high influences in high school.
Well, I mean, at the time, though, like in high school, I was watching a lot of Saturday Night Live. So, I mean, that's really what I wanted to do. I wanted to fucking be Mike Myers.
Yeah, our high school age was
good back then. It was good back then.
It was probably because it was just coming out of like the Chevy Chase into the Eddie Murphy era, and then coming into that, we had all the fucking like the Chris Rock and Mike Myers and Dana Carvey and like Wayne's World and like for better or worse, some of it sucked, but like a lot of that shit became iconic and movies were made of it and all this kind of stuff.
Well, I was talking to my wife about this the other day, and because that movie Bohemian Rhapsody is out, the Queen movie, right? Yeah. And like, I don't know anybody that doesn't love Queen. They have a lot of fucking great songs. They have a lot of great songs. Like, how do you not love Queen? Everybody loves Queen.
Right? Absolutely.
But where do you guys know Queen from? Where do you guys know Bohemian Rhapsody from? For me, it's Wayne's World.
Yeah, probably. That's where I was introduced to it, I think.
Yeah.
I was a Queen fan very, very early when when being a musician.
He's a musician, so I mean, of course. Yeah. But even so, when did that come out? Wayne's World came out like 91.
91, yeah, or early 92, I think it might have been, but
maybe. But I was like 14 when it came out. So fucking, So what were you, 15 when that came out?
Yeah. Right.
Most of my exposure into music was like the older stuff from like my parents or whatever, and honestly, music at that point in time, music was not that prevalent for whatever reason in my life. Soundtracks of movies and like the soundtrack to Star Wars, like fuck that. Like I love music, but like I didn't delve into music. I didn't like listen to the radio on my own to experience it. It was like it was kind of like video games, playing outside, doing homework, and
I'll tell you this, man. They were right. I'm gonna get you, sucker. That's my theme music. Every good hero should have some. If I had theme music, like if I had my own theme music when it started playing when a big moment was coming up, and they would cue me in that a big moment was coming up, I would focus, But if I had my own theme music, I would get shit done.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be a fucking champ. I'd be Balboa. I understand why Balboa got up those fucking stairs.
Right.
He wouldn't have done that without theme music.
Yeah, even looking like go to like Rocky 4, like fucking heart's on fire and he's climbing through fucking.
Oh my god!
And he's running faster than the Russian car, and fucking Drago's cheating using steroids, like fucking Drago.
There's no way you're not getting through those snowbanks carrying those logs if you got your own theme music.
Yeah. I used to have that DVR'd, like that part was DVR'd for years.
Remember
years? I used to go right to that part,
a certain spot, or to record a certain spot.
Yep. And I had that spot right there for years, just so I could motivate myself to do something. I mean, talk about influences.
You have to make that's Rocky Balboa, of course.
Yeah.
I even right down to using the Rocky Balboa Stallone story of Rocky Balboa as a fucking inspiration for.
Oh my god! Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, I mean Rocky's a big thing, but I like to have that. Where you have those certain songs. When we were playing softball, there are certain songs that I would fucking play on the way to play softball every fucking time. Weird thing though is that I would play. There are certain songs. I have an Oasis Greatest Hits CD, right? Oasis, you would think, right? But they have a couple of songs where the song first starts, it gets you fucking pumped up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it fucking why not? Whatever works.
Sure.
Yeah, whatever works.
Whatever fucking pumps you up, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, some people go get fucked in the ass and they go out the street. I don't know.
Usually walking funny, yeah.
That's how they get caught.
Ready for work, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
And it's funny too, bringing up the Rocky stuff too, because we talk like, oh, who were your influencers, right? Who influenced your life? And sometimes it's not necessarily a person, but like a moment or a thing, right?
Right.
Watching a movie and stuff like that. Like I remember seeing fucking Star Wars and watch it and be like, oh my god, this is amazing. You know, like as a kid seeing fucking spaceships and fucking laser sword battles and all this shit, and like that captured my imagination like fucking nothing else did. You know, I was kind of into like I actually, when I was real little, you get to like the starter comics and stuff like that. And I liked comics, right? And I saw some, but they weren't important to me. They weren't meaningful. It was more about looking at the pictures, I think. Helps you start reading a little bit, right? All that kind of goofy shit, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't read books. I did not read without comics. Comics was the only thing I would read until.
And there's a lot of people that would like that. Absolutely.
No, that's actually true. I only read, the only thing I read for myself were comics until my senior year of high school. I just didn't read books. I wouldn't read. Yeah. Which is weird.
I didn't read the high school shit they gave me, but I read comics.
I didn't read. I literally didn't read the high school books. I would sit in class. You know where they had to read in class? You had to read the story. I would sit there and listen to everybody reading in class. And when they asked the questions on the test, I would answer them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to read the Barron's book the week before a Regents or something, and I'd pass.
I didn't even do that. I mean, you literally just had to listen to the kids in the class. You know, if they didn't do reading out loud, fucked. But you know,
how many of those essay questions at the end of the test did you fucking bullshit your way through?
Very crazy,
right? Like everyone.
That's all I still do that.
Yeah. funny enough, the one thing in high school that I actually got into as far as the reading was fucking Shakespeare.
I didn't get into Shakespeare until later on, way later on, after a whole lot of life experience. And it's weird, you know, like I get teaching Shakespeare in high school, right? You know, like talk about influences, right? Like I always thought Romeo and Juliet was fucking shit until I saw that play Shakespeare in Love, and that was after I've been through my own shit, you know, and you see now that's a great movie, right? I mean, it should not have beaten Saving Private Ryan for the Academy Award, but it's still a great movie, right? And the way that it makes you see how something like that could have inspired Romeo and Juliet, and then it makes Romeo and Juliet that much better, make that much more sense, bring life that much more. That was a brilliant piece of writing. That movie, but it's just the way that Shakespeare specifically catches people, like the human condition, the human spirit, who people are, what people do. Like, there's still nobody that's ever gotten that. Nobody, you know, like nobody's gotten it right to that degree that like this is human nature and this is what people are going to do under these circumstances. I didn't appreciate that when I was in high school. I don't know how I could have. I was a little sheltered, I guess.
And you know what I think it is too? I think the language barrier, so to speak, with Shakespeare, I don't know whether it scares people or just turns them off, or they're just like, fuck it, this is stupid. You know, I think too many people like don't get into it because of that. Like whether it's, you know, this doesn't make sense to me, so it scares me. Like I don't want to fucking read this out loud. I'm going to sound stupid, right? Which is a fucking thing in high school, right?
Oh yeah,
you dreaded, like, especially why they still fucking tried to embarrass us by fucking making us do shit at the board.
That's
always the fucking worst.
That's a thing now. That's a thing always. That's always a thing. That's why when you go like Walt was talking about how he went to that Anthony Robbins seminar. At those seminars, one of the things throughout the day they make you do things to step outside of your comfort zone, like
sure,
like a certain amount of people. You if I have to introduce yourself to 10 people while you're here, introducing yourself to 10 people is something you don't want to fucking do. It's something you feel awkward, you feel uncomfortable, you don't want to talk to these people, but if you have to do it, you have to do it, and it gets you out of your comfort zone. But then once you do it, you feel like you conquered something, like you slayed a dragon, and it's
like back in high school, I didn't feel like any fucking dragon was being slayed. I feel like I need to slink right back to my fucking desk and hide again for another half an hour.
Yeah, if anything, you probably thought you were the dragon being slayed. Right?
Yeah. There's a lot of shit that they got to do. That you got to teach kids about personal finances, about how to keep their checkbook, about how to fucking sew their fucking clothes, about how to iron their clothes to be presentable. You got to teach them fucking shit like that. You got to teach them how to fucking make some food and some fucking how to fucking take care of fucking CPR, shit like that. The kind of shit that's going to save your life.
Right.
How money works, buy fucking assets, not fucking liabilities. The simple basics of how money works. Those kind of things are what people, how your brain fucking functions, so you could how to communicate with people.
Yeah.
Right.
Those are the things they need to fucking be teaching people in school. And then when they fucking get older and they want to have that profession or that doctorate, then you get them in front of fucking people outside of their comfort zone where they're fucking slaying dragons because they already want to slay the dragon. And don't force the people that will just want to be fucking normal.
Yeah. Dude, there's plenty of villagers that just want to fucking shovel their hay into the pile and fucking raise their animals. Like, they don't need to be a fucking knight.
Fuck their goats. Exactly. Most people that fuck their goats don't want to be known. They want to sling in the shadows. Prerequisite,
And it's necessary.
Yeah, somebody's got to milk the cow.
Yeah. Sure. It's not going to milk itself.
Horrible. Oh God. It's weird though that for me that I wouldn't read a book, and now I've written 3, and that's what I do.
Yeah.
Even though you can probably tell that from reading my shit. But I can definitely distinctly remember the moment where I thought, this is what I want to do, and I can tell you who my influences were Edgar Allan Poe and J.R.R. Tolkien.
Okay.
See, it's not really true that I didn't read. I read a lot of Edgar Allan Poe and Nathaniel Hawthorne when I was a kid, but short story stuff. I read short stories. I didn't read books. The like Huckleberry Finn. I never read it. Adventures of Tom Sawyer. That I read. Huckleberry Finn. I wouldn't read that. Fucking too long and boring. Sorry, couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But then I started a friend. Well, then I read Jurassic Park, and Jurassic Park, it was at the same time that the movie came out. So that was for me, reading that book and then going, because the book was sick. And then I saw the movie, and it was the other way around. I saw the movie. The movie was sick. Fucking love that movie. Still, every time I hear that music to this day, every time I hear the music and I see that goddamn dinosaur, I get chills in a good way,
Yeah.
But then fucking read the book afterwards, and the book was so much better than the movie. It was so much fucking more detail. It was so crazy. And I did my senior thesis on that. So then my buddies dropped in my hand this book called Elric of Melniboné by Michael Moorcock. And exactly.
Why did your friends just drop porn in your hand?
The day that they fucking gave me this book too, they were running around and they were laughing about it too. They were running around Manhattan, going into all the used bookstores because they used to have those used bookstores.
Oh God, yeah, they were everywhere, man.
Asking for Moorcock. Hey, you have any more? You have Moorcock? We're looking for Moorcock. You have Moorcock? Can you show me where Moorcock?
That's like Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy.
Yeah. And which is ironic, the dude that I know for Boom Studios, they've done Elric comics, but this book was about a dragon breed sorcerer thing where they're said the opening of the book is a ceremony where a celebration where all the lords go around raping women. That's the opening of the fucking story, but it's actually perfect for a movie script. But it is. If you read Elric and Melniboné, it's perfect for a movie script.
With all the raping and all.
With all the raping and all, exactly. What's a movie?
Start off real sexy.
Yeah.
Fucking dragon wizard with his fucking big.
It's really good stuff, though. It really is good stuff. And then just then I started reading. Tolkien, and you started reading The Hobbit. And you started reading Lord of the Rings. I read. Then it was the Dragonlance Chronicles with Margaret White, and stuff. Tracy Hickman, who I met, who was awesome. But that's like for me, I was definitely clear as day. Though I was standing at work, staring up at Grand Central Station, which is across the street from where I fucking from the restaurant that I was working at the time. So I'm standing through these big windows of Grand Central Station, thinking about what I had just read, and the day before, and how it had put me there. Like I was there, right? And I was just thinking, yeah, man, fuck, this is. I would love to do this for other people. This is what I would like to do, is put them there to do that for other people. So I kind of went from, this is after the Saturday Night Live thing fucking was not going to happen. I kind of went from that to writing stories. Now the problem though is that as much as I wasn't doing the Saturday Night Live thing anymore, writing skits and performing them and shit like that, I'm still that kind of that asshole, that same asshole that would interrupt fucking people in class and fucking do dopey shit and fucking crack it. I still do that. Shit and dick jokes are still, like, I think they're the funniest thing in the world. Yeah. I think fart jokes are fucking hysterical. So I write like that. So my audience is very limited because of the kind of thing that I do.
Because I'm writing like a fucking high school asshole.
Pretty much, yes. I mean, that's pretty much the stories that I write. Well,
you know what? Your fucking marketing plan is top notch.
Well, all this, all the social justice warrior things have me deciding to just double down. No matter what, I'm fucked anyway. I'm too much of a man. I've been told that. Somebody once told me that the quote is, you're too much of a man to be molded. You're like a manimal.
Manimal.
They were calling me manimal for a while because of that. Yeah, because I was too manly to be molded. So like a caveman, though.
Wear it with pride, man. Wear it with pride.
Not in a good sense, kind of like a shitting in the corner.
It was like a cute way to call you a Neanderthal.
Basically, yes.
John, make fire.
If you're gonna be a Neanderthal and you're gonna get accused of being a Neanderthal, you might as well be a Neanderthal. Go big or go home.
True.
Yeah. So if at some point, like no matter what, despite your best behavior, they're gonna get you on something because they're looking to get you. Right. Then you might, but the whole time you are curtailing yourself, so you're not getting your best. You're not putting the best you into whatever it is that you do, because you're fucking worried about what the backlash of is going to be. Well, you're going to get that backlash anyway, so fuck it. Go big or go home. Right. Go down in flames.
Right. Plus, their opinions are not relevant. Why would it be relevant to you?
They are if you get your job taken away from you and your life taken away, then it's pretty relevant. And unfortunately that's the environment that you're living in right now, where I saw some crazy thing, and not to be political, but this is just crazy. The vagina monologues was canceled at a college because it wasn't diverse enough. And they were giving chance of not all women have vaginas, and yeah, so it disrespected, it neglected the feminist views of the transgender community and some other people. So it's not diverse enough. The vagina monologues.
Let me ask you this question. And again, this is not to take a political spin, because I don't give a shit what side of the fence anybody is on, right? Because fuck your grass, fuck how green it is. I don't give a shit.
That'd be disturbing. Like if I walked out of my front door and Thaddeus was just fucking my grass, I'd be a little bit
My grass was greener, but his grass looked like it needed to be fucked. So at what point in time, whether it's a time frame or a specific point of fucking mass explosion, I guess. And it's and in a way, it's almost like a comical karma kind of thing. But all the people that have been screaming about their rights, doesn't matter who that group is, right? They're so radical in their thinking because they're so passionate about their mess. Like almost like you said, right? Go big or go home, right? If you're gonna get shit for doing it, why not go fucking full? Right? But here's the thing: you go full force, you go whatever.
Never go for a retard.
Exactly, right? But now you create all these stupid little loopholes because you're fucking plowing through and you're messing. Now all these people are using these loopholes that you fucking created, and they're fucking backstabbing you, and they're getting you the fuck out of the way.
Yep.
And so we're eating each other from the fucking inside, from the back of the line forward, right? Yep. At what point in time do we reach fucking critical mass?
Well, that's the thing. It's got to happen eventually, where everybody collectively loses their minds and it all goes to shit. Or before that happens, people lock down and say, all right, enough already. This just isn't going to work. They just fucking put the kibosh.
Right.
I don't know.
Or there's a substitution of some sort that takes hold that, distracts people enough to say, like you said, that, enough's enough. Right. Something else takes hold where it's like, okay, we're over here now,
Right. Something like, I'm not saying necessarily the destructiveness of it, but something like 9/11, something that happens that is like that everybody stops and changes course of direction.
Yeah.
Right.
And then let's say that event, and hopefully it's not a tragedy, right? That snaps us, but whatever. Right? Because right after 9/11, it was like we're the most patriotic, united,
It could be an Olympic hockey game.
Yeah, sure. It has been in the past, right?
And that's what I'm saying.
That's got to carry over. And I think there's our biggest weakness or flaw is we don't have the carryover, right? We're in the middle of a good vibe, good feeling, good, unity and blah, 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 right? That was probably the strongest we were as a country for a while, right? And we just let everything slip back to fucking anarchy again.
Yeah, well, I don't know, because like I'm hearing, you're hearing all the things like that now Facebook might start charging. Facebook charges, they're dead, because even if they're charging you $5 a month, I'm not paying $5 a month for Facebook.
Why?
It's like but then you lose
a new free Facebook mold will fucking pop up and everybody will jump onto that.
You're right, something like that. But there, the ideal that, and we've talked about this a lot, I think, the idea that too big to fail exists is just not true. You hit a point, you do hit critical mass where everything has to fall apart because you can't sustain the infrastructure of it. That's the same thing with anything. The same, it goes the same way. I don't even remember what I was talking about. There you go. At that point,
there you have it.
There you have
it. It was just a tangent that we started getting on, and I wanted to get your opinion. Yeah, because it's this is what I've been trying to tell people. I don't give a shit again what side of the fence you're on or whatever, but if we lose rational thinking, right? If we lose fucking the cores of what keep us together as a fucking community, right? Respecting one another, fucking personal space, just like basic shit, right? We're losing that, right? How? Don't get so caught up in your fanatical whatever it is, whether it's whether it's your fervor for your political party, whether it's the fervor for your fucking sports team. Like, when we lose fucking all reason, we're fucking why are we doing anything anymore then, you know?
You know what I think about? I think about Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius. If you read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, he basically everything comes down to, I could boil it all down to one thing. Okay, so in 300 years, everyone you know and everyone who ever knew you will be fucking totally wiped from this earth, and no one will have known any trace of you ever existed. So what the fuck?
Theoretically, yeah.
So that's Marcus Aurelius, and what really happens at home for me, right? So, you know, you flip through stations and you see movies that I love, like these B movies, whatever they are, that fucking they're from the 80s, and you saw them one night at fucking 2 o'clock in the morning. You love that movie, and every time it's on, you fucking catch it, but it's rarely on. To the point where half the time you forget that that movie's even out there until one day you see it on the cable. Oh, I love this movie. I forgot all about it. And you watch it again, you know? And in 20 years, if that movie never comes on, that movie's gone to time. It's gone. I'm a fan of Toad the Wet Sprocket. I like the band Toad the Wet Sprocket.
Me too.
Right? It reminds me of being a kid. It reminds me that when I hear Toad the Wet Sprocket, I feel like I'm home.
Me too.
It reminds me of being that age that we're talking about. Except for things that my wife happens to like them too. So except for things that for whatever reason randomly come up, I listen to them on Pandora. But whoever puts on Toad the Wet Sprocket, and they have some great songs. But by the time my kids are my age, fucking nobody's gonna remember Toad the Wet Sprocket. And by the time my grandkids are my age, it'll be like they never existed.
Man.
And
Right.
so when I hear all this
from the conscious everyday thought of people, sure.
Yeah, like, well, it's basically like no matter what, your greatest works are the most popular things, or the things that everybody's going crazy about in fucking 75 years won't make a fucking dick of a difference. Your entire outreach, unless you are somebody that's enormously famous, unless you're fucking Jesus Christ, right? Unless you're Hitler, right? Your absolute reach is like 150 years. Your absolute reach. Maybe your great grandkids met you, and maybe your grandkids told them enough stories about you. Maybe your grandkids knew you well enough to tell them enough stories about you and remember enough of the stories that your parents told them. Maybe you have some videos and stuff like that. Yeah, that's Uncle Fred. Yeah, he was a real dick. Nobody talked to him. So, oh yeah, what happened to him after this video? I don't know. Nobody heard from him. Disappeared in the woods. You know?
You said good riddance.
You're right. Good. Right. We were all glad he disappeared. We thought he was an asshole. You get to choose your family, kid. You know, and fucking, so the most that you get is 150 years where anybody gives a shit, even knows who you are, unless you did something fucking crazy like cure cancer. And how many people fucking cured cancer? Nobody yet.
Yeah, sure.
So, like, what the fuck are we worried about?
Yeah. When you put shit in perspective like that, sure.
Make a living and shut the fuck up. Stop being so angry about everything, because in 100 years, you didn't make any difference.
And let's even say you did at the time make a fucking difference. Like, do you want to spend your life feeling like, why would you purposefully put yourself in a state where you're like, oh, I can't wait to fucking see who I'm going to fight with today?
Because life is easy now, and people are complacent.
Yeah.
So because like,
yes, you know what I miss? Fucking lazy complacency. That was me, man. I'm fucking lazy complacency to the fucking max. Like,
I think something like 30 years ago, the major concern on the planet was still starvation, like people not being able to eat, and now the major concern, health concern wise, is that most people are fat. So, like, what does that tell you about how fucking easy it's been, where people are not, where, you know, what was that meme that, you know, it's where the where People collecting food stamps, complain on using $800 phone to complain about how they're getting screwed or something like that.
Right.
You know, or how they're being oppressed. Right. That's what it is. Yeah. People collecting food stamps using $800 phones to complain about how they're being oppressed. That like when we were kids, you had the Cold War. You had somebody who was literally could blow you up at any second, and they played that up. And there was no, and there's no. We need a bad guy, and people need a bad guy in general. You need somebody to blame for all your problems. You need somebody to justify the stupid shit you do. You need somebody to. You need a boogeyman in the closet to scare you into doing things the right way, and to scare to be God fearing, if you will.
Right. And most people are getting away from that, which causes a problem too, because they don't have that, anymore.
If you don't have that, if you don't have that fear of what comes next being taken away from you, like if it's something we get into. Like, I don't know how you are with your kids, Thaddeus. I don't believe in beating my children, but I do believe in a fucking swift smack. I do believe in that. And my wife yells at me and everything, except that if there's not a nuclear option, if there's not that thing that person is afraid of the most, then there's nothing that they're afraid of the most. And they'll do whatever the fuck they want, because what the fuck is that? What are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
Until they are afraid of what you're going to do about it, there's nothing keeping them in line.
And think about that. How many years of that do you even have in your control? Very little.
Right.
Because it's going to get to the point where they're old enough to be like, fuck you, I don't need to listen to you. I can have my own life.
By the time they're 13, if you don't have that in them, they're not going to have it in them.
Yeah.
So.
No, but I mean, let's even say you have that, right? You have that control because there's that fear factor, right? It's going to get to a point in time where your boy turns fucking 16 and that stops meaning something to him. Maybe it's 18, maybe it's 20. But you know what I mean? Like, at most, how many years can, fear of the spank, so to speak? Like, how long can that even last?
See, now when you put it in those terms, though, throughout the history of the world, there was always the other guy. The English always had the French. You know what I mean? There's always the other guy.
Oh, sure.
So you can always keep people under control to a large degree by who the other guy was. So when you've taken that away, and so in that sense, then whatever that is, it doesn't end at 18. It doesn't end at 45, because at any minute the Russians can hit the button.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So you have to be a good American, because at any moment the Russians could hit the button. And you being a bad American could be the reason it happened.
If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Right. But the thing is, the truth is, though, is that it does keep fucking people from being less rowdy.
Sure.
Especially about stupid things, about trivial things.
And here's the thing, and again, not to spin this in any political direction at all, but right, the fucking, what was it, a few over the summer or whatever the fuck it was, so a few months ago, right? The Nazi uprising. The Nazis had that fucking the one thing, and there was the protests and the whole fucking and it was a shit show. Everybody on fucking Facebook, on Twitter, on the news, that's it. Fucking the second coming of Hitler, fucking World War 17. Like what happened to World War 3? Why did we go to 17? I don't know. DEFCON 5. Fucking Nazis are taking. Do you even fucking hear a peep out of the fucking Nazi uprising that was supposedly taking over our country a couple months ago?
Yeah, but it's just we're triggered to do that, though. So that's
overreaction to fucking everything.
All of that is the reason why I don't want to talk about it here. You know why? Because I'm getting more and more to the point where I just don't care. Because in 75 years, maybe I'll be around at 75 years, and hopefully, if it's like medical advances are at that point, if somebody's wiping my ass for me, it's because I enjoy it, not because I need them to.
Mm-hmm. It'd be like that guy that fucking pretends to be mentally challenged and has people wipe his balls for him.
Of course, that guy's a fucking genius to me. That guy's my fucking hero.
Hey, she should have been more coy with getting away.
Now, what I wonder,
he should have eyed the tail.
Did he have specific requests for like which nurses it was? Did he have a catalog? Okay, these are the good-looking nurses. These aren't.
Right?
Or did he not care? Did he not care if it was like a 62-year-old Jamaican woman?
As long as they were wiping his balls, I guess it didn't matter, right?
Right. It doesn't matter to him if they were fucking man, woman. Doesn't matter. Just clean my ass.
Probably.
Hey,
can you send over that big tit blonde? My balls are getting a little itchy.
I think I have a little more respect for him if they'll take whoever comes.
Well, they'll take whoever comes. Hi.
Well, yeah. At that age, it seize the day. You know, it's every day is the last day. You know, so you take whatever comes.
But this guy wasn't 62. He was 31. What I'm saying is what I'm saying is, does he care whoever comes over and cleans his nutsack if they're like 62? Oh, she's old, but she's a pro.
If you close your eyes, she's fucking whatever you want her to be.
She's been around the game for a long time. She'll come through the clutch.
She knows how to fucking stick her pinky under the fucking balls and make you come faster.
She really knows how to get in those crevices. She can battle out around the boards. Horrible. Anyway, on that note, I think at this point of the show, it's time to wrap up. Any last thoughts?
I love how we stayed on track for our fucking inspiration.
We stayed nowhere on point on the inspiration thing, and somewhere I don't even know where we lost the rails. It may have even been early.
It was probably early. Who knows?
I know I asked a couple of questions in there. We got a couple of answers.
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? It kept segueing into some fucking other form of fuckery, and who's going to see the rabbit hole and go, "Oh, I don't want to jump down there."
The good thing, is that when Scotty comes back, we can actually do the show we were meaning to do for 3 weeks now.
Yeah, we did. Fucking, I'm still dying. We did touch a little bit on the Stan Lee stuff and the inspiration there, but yeah, I still would like to go back and do like a full-on in-depth kind of thing, because I do, and the other thing I like about the concept of it too is to see how our fucking inspirations and all that kind of stuff intertwine, right?
Yeah. Because like you talk about with Kevin Smith, there are portions of the show that we have been doing that we went on a little bit too much about him in particular, but he's a huge influence for me too.
Sure.
Just the way his style of storytelling and the types, because he's all fart and dick jokes, And,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's the same things that he. I guess it's a lot of it is the Stan Lee thing, because he's probably influenced by a lot of the same things that I was influenced just a couple of years earlier,
Sure.
And because even the lines and stuff like that, same kind of deal. So I'm a fan of his.
And I think that's the beauty of someone like Stan Lee, right? Because, right, his influence, right? If you think of his influence as like a timeline, right? A straight line, right? We're all experiencing the same experience, the same awe, the same respect, just at different spots in this timeline, right? People like Seth MacFarlane, Kevin Smith, you, me, fucking our kids, they're all experiencing this Marvel universe and Spider-Man and all these fucking things that he either co-created or just straight up created himself.
What I think all the insanity out there, where at one day we just stopped agreeing on facts, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think what happened is that there is some kind of an alternate timeline. I think there was I don't know, the X-Men had to go back in time and they fucked with something.
Yep.
And they screwed shit up, and now we have nobody can agree, because some people are supposed to be in this timeline, some people are on another multiverse where men are women or women are men, so they're here and they're confused. It's just a whole fucking mess.
It's when old Biff went back and gave the fucking sports book to young Biff.
It could be.
And we were in.
At the end of the day, maybe Bill Maher is right, and Stanley is to blame.
Oh God, yeah. Look at this terribleness that he created.
Somebody went back
What
in
a
time and they
piece of
fucked everything up,
story.
and now no one makes sense.
Yep. Fucking Thanos snaps his finger and the world goes to fucking shit.
Yep, Thanos snapped his finger.
Thanos snapped a finger.
And you never go full retard.
A finger?
A finger? What? No fingers. Sorry,
I think so.
that's not my game. All right, maybe a little pingy. Nah, horrible.
2 in the pink and 1 in the stink.
Oh, I thought it was running regular. 2 of the pig, 1 of the regular. Horrible. Anyway, on that, Walt, anything else you want to get in there before we cut out?
Just R.I.P. Stanley, Excelsior.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we'll get it. We're gonna have to have a part 2 next week on this. Thaddeus, is it for you?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll try to get a part 2 next week. I don't know where it went off the rails, but we'll see how it happened.
I think it was interesting, but yeah, we lacked a little bit of focus.
We definitely lacked a little bit of focus. I blame myself. What are you gonna do? Have a good Turkey Day, folks.
Yeah.
Definitely check it out on YouTube or SoundCloud, Mad DMC, The Garage. And check out my books on Amazon. They're under the Mad Dozer Presents, John Lasota there. Everything you buy, they're entertaining things, and the more money we get for things like that, the more we can put into the show production-wise. Maybe get some class in here. Anyway, on that note,
Peacock isn't classy. Fuck you.
fucking Peacock, man. The Peacock.
Gotta
Have a good night.